but there has been interviews in the past where I get like 3, 4 questions in, and the person's like, "I'm sorry, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we doing?" And I'm like, I'm just trying to get to know you, so the listeners can get to know you as a person before we get to know." And they're like, "Okay, okay, can we start this again?" And I'm like, "Sure." And they're like, "Is this all on recording?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "Okay, can we just stop and do this again?" So I've had numerous artists where I've had to.
So did you actually stop it and then start it over again?
Yes, of course. If it gets to that point where it gets awkward in the interview and I don't have the editing abilities.
Well, I don't think it's going to be awkward between me and you talking, Aaron, because me and you go back and we've known each other for a long time and like we're friends. So like, I mean, but the thing is, at the same time, don't be just like, I don't want you to ask me like personal questions about like my personal like life, like I don't know. Anyway,
You know what? It's funny. Hey, hold on. I'm recording right now. So I love that we got that little dialogue on recording where we're going to talk about the boundaries of what we're about to talk about. And
yeah,
that's...
no, Aaron, I'm just whatever. Just ask away. Just don't give me a chance to say anything like.
I will not. Hold on, Mr. Lal.
Give me a chance to like think about what we're doing right now. Just
Okay. And here's the thing: it's my job as your interviewee, I guess, to keep things centered and keep things on course. So, like I say, we're gonna do some personal questions, get to know you as a guy, as a person first, before we could dive into the industry, get to know you as MC Lal. Okay?
Okay, what? So what? You're starting this shit right now?
We're starting it right now. Okay, here we go. First question I'm going to ask you: what was the first album you ever purchased with your own money?
The first album that I purchased with my own money was 1989. Keep on Moving, Soul to Soul. It was a 45 and it was a record. And I was having a garage party in my house. We had so many friends and my mom didn't want everybody in the house because she knew that we were going to make a mess. So we're like, forget it. Let's have a garage party. And we just moved it into the garage. I brought my record player in the garage, and me and my boy Justin went to H&B at the Promenade Mall, and we're looking for records, and that was like one of the first records that I bought. Yeah.
And I want to shout out all my Jewish crew that are able to familiarize themselves with Promenade Mall. That's a throwback for myself. I grew up going to that place every Saturday with my bubby. And I don't know if it still is what it once was, but Promenade Mall was a Jewish hub, if you will. But
Aaron, nothing is ever what it was before.
Things change, exactly that. I honestly, not to go too far off topic, but like the Pickle Barrel was a restaurant we used to frequent a lot because it had a lot of Jewish foods. But now that it's kind of franchised itself, it's become just a restaurant. You know, it's nothing to do with the Jewish community. But anyways, what was the first concert you ever attended? Do you remember?
I don't know which one came first. I went to a Rage Against the Machine, and I think the Beastie Boys were there. It was 1994, 1993. It was around like the time like Insane in the Membrane came out. Like Cypress Hill was there, Rage Against the Machine, and yeah.
I think that was Lollapalooza, was it not?
Yeah.
At Wonderland.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly. No, it wasn't at.
Where was it? I remember that concert though, Mr. Lal.
Downtown. It wasn't at Wonderland. It was downtown somewhere. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. I don't know. I was really young, so I don't remember. Like, because we didn't travel there, we got dropped off and picked up.
By your parents, I would assume, or someone's parents.
No, not my parents. By my boy's parents.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your first experience with the rave then? If that was your first concert, what was your first rave experience?
Oh my goodness. I'll never forget that. The first party I went to was February 1995. It was a Cyrus party, Champions of Champions. And on the flyer was Mickey Finn, Kenny Ken, MC Reality. But Mickey Finn never showed up. So I think maybe he was 16 or something. Andy C. That was his first time ever coming. He was a replacement for Mickey Finn.
Wow.
And yeah, man, I totally like snuck out of my house, jumped off my roof because I was really, really like young, and nobody, like none of my friends from high school went to raves. Like I was like the only one. I mean, I knew people that at my high school that listened to jungle music, but I never hung out with them out of school. So like the people that I did hang with, they were like, "What the heck is this?" And you know. So I ended up going by myself. That's how, like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. That's how into the music I was. I went to a rave by myself when I was like, I don't know, I was really young.
Well, that's interesting. Hold on. That's the interesting thing to me is that you were into the music so much that you went to the rave, because a lot of people went to the rave first. So where did you hear jungle for the first time?
Well, I have to big up my boy, Yossi Greenspan. I still remember his first and last name. He's a couple years older than me. It's,
Sounds like another one of my Jewish brothers.
yeah, man. One of my boys, man. One of my boys, man. A good, ended up becoming a really good friend of mine. Shout out to you if you ever hear this.
Big up Yossi.
So I was like in grade 9. This was like, I was in grade 9 and I was in high school, first year in high school, and obviously everybody knows high school is totally different than elementary school. It's like, when you get to high school, it's like you're in grade 9 and it's just like you're around older people. Whereas in elementary school, you're in grade 8, you're the oldest person, and you think you're so cool. And then you go to high school and it's like, whoa, you meet all types of different people, and it's really cool. So I don't know, I was just hanging out with my friends, and I just see this weird dude, man. Like honestly, the weirdest looking dude. I've never ever seen anybody like look like this dude ever. And he's just walking down the hallway and he's bopping his head, like bopping his head. And I just walked up to him and I was like, "Yo, dude." I was like, he took his earphones off and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like, "Yo, man, what are you listening to?" I was just so intrigued by him. I don't know. And he's like, "Yo, you ever listen to jungle music?" And I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Listen to this." And I took his headphones, I put it on my ears, and I hear what I know. I know reggae, I know buju, and I hear "Miala like a champion, talk like a champion." But in the background, I hear all these like crazy beats in the background. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So he's that's where I listened to it. I listened to it at Vaughan Secondary School, grade 9, 1994, something like that. And I was like, "Where do you go listen to this music?" And then he brought me. It wasn't even him that brought me tapes. It was like I was done with him. That was like my only, like that was my encounter that I had with him for like the rest of the year, I think. I don't remember ever talking to him again for the rest of the year. I remember meeting other people in the school that were into that music. And I met Brad, DJ Lush. He went to my high school and he had this crew called the Mad Rave Crew, and a couple of those guys that went to elementary school with, so I already knew them. And then I just started hearing it like nonstop. And the thing that intrigued me the most about jungle music was the reggae, because I loved reggae way before this encounter that I had, but the extra beats and the samples and the fire and the shots, gunshots, and it was just all so cool, like how it all came together. And I don't know, it was the most coolest thing I heard, like, and since rap music, I don't know, it was just so cool. And
no, it is. You know what? And here's the thing: is that I think there's something very important in what you're describing, in that the age you were and how you were able to be infected, because at 13, 14, and this is where I talk about all ages parties, I think it's easier to, transist or, create a malleable mind, if you will, towards jungle, drum and bass, or to try and give them a new sound. And it's harder when all we're doing is 19 plus, and we're trying to show these people something new at the age of 19, maybe 20, 21, and at that point, their mind is somewhat made up. So,
I'll be straight up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I heard in 1992, okay, this is a couple years before. In 1992, I was around like 11, 12, whatever. And there was this guy, Dushan, that was his name. And he gave me this tape, and it was before the Ragga Jungle, because it was called hardcore, I guess. And the BPM was a little like lower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And MCGQ, I didn't know that it was him at the time. I never knew who MCGQ was until a couple years later when I heard him on, like fucking, with Mickey Finn and when
Sure.
the Ragga Jungle was going on. And I remembered hearing his voice a couple years earlier. He was the same MC on that tape that guy Dushan gave me, but he was MCing over hardcore music. So I had an introduction to it before, but it never interested me. And I'll tell you this right now, Aaron, if it wasn't for, later on when in 96, 97, where it was just about the beats and no really reggae, they did have reggae, but not so much. If I heard that first, it probably would have never have interested me as much as when I heard it mixed with the reggae. It was because I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for the reggae, listening to the reggae in it, I probably would have never gotten into it. But it was the reggae that intrigued me because I'm like, I know all these songs, but what is this cool ass, what are these cool ass beats going on in the background? That shit just like brought me in. Like it was so interesting to me.
Well, and that's one of the interesting things of the evolution of jungle drum and bass is the integration of sound system culture with electronic music and the sound that we hear today from hardcore, acid house, and the progression to jungle drum and bass. And then all the subgenres that have come since. But okay, I want to ask you, because here's the thing, we could discuss that for hours. But what I want to get into is more about you. What inspired you to want to get on the mic rather than just be a person listening to the music?
Well, that kind of happened by fluke because,
Because one come enter into the boom a Ruma?
Listen, I was only, yeah, it's funny because, only certain people will get that joke. But
for those that do, big up.
I actually was DJing before I started MCing. I was DJing way before I started MCing. I was DJing like my elementary school dances. I've been DJing since I was honestly 9. I used to DJ with tape decks and shit before I got turntables. And anyways, so that was where my heart was at. I never ever had any desire to MC, never ever thought that I could do it, never ever thought I could put rhymes together. Not that I'm such a lyrical person, but I'm just saying, you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Sure.
One day I was at school. It was May, like it is now. Funny enough, it's May, and this happened in May in 1996. I was in high school, sitting in the back of the school. I was rolling a joint, and one of my boys came up to me and goes, "Yo, I'm gonna go." Okay, so it's kind of a weird. Okay, my boy Ernie. It's because of him I started MCing. So I never knew that he went to raves. I just saw him at a rave in 1995. He was with his sister, and he was with one of my other boys, Frank Messina, Otis. Shout out to all of these guys. These guys are my brothers, my family. And we spent so many times together, listening to jungle music, raving. So I just want to shout them out. So I saw them at parties, but we were never friends because I was a year older than them, and I never really, when I was in grade 10, they were in grade 9. So I never really talked to them, but I would see them at parties, and we knew that we went to the same high school. So what happened was, I saw them at the rave, we started talking at the rave, hanging out, whatever, then I see them at school, we could party over the weekend, this and that, so we started hanging out. Anyways, so it's May, 1996, fucking rolling a joint, not going to class, and Ernie goes, "Yo, you want to come over to my house? What are we going to do at school? It's so burnt here, whatever." So he's like, "Come over to my house." He's like, "I got turntables." I was like, "Okay, cool, let's go." So me, him, two of my other boys went, Richard and my other boy Bugsy, and I did not know he played the jungle music or anything like that. He played drum and bass, he DJ'd, like I didn't know any of this shit. I thought we were just going over there to hang out. And he said, yeah, I got turntables and stuff, but I didn't really think too, like, when somebody tells you have turntables, you don't really think of it until you know, yeah, whatever, you got turntables, but until you actually see what they're doing on the decks, you're like, okay, this guy's serious. It was one of those kind of things. I didn't really know what I was going into until I got there. And so he's playing jungle music, drum and bass, all the shit that I love, you know, and then he just looks at me and he's like, there's a mic there, and he's like, yo, D, get on the mic. I'm like, what am I going to say? Like, no, what do you do? Like, but we're high, whatever, and that. So I got up on the mic, and I didn't have any rhymes, so I just started emceeing my favorite MC's rhymes. Like, I started copying Fearless and, you know, like MC Reality. Those are guys that I was really into when I started off. Still am, whatever. And then when we were done, he said to me, he goes, well, dude, like, you have a good voice, but just make up your own rhymes. And that was it. I went home, started writing rhymes, and I would spend every weekend, all the time, at his house, and we just, like, that's how it just started. The good thing is that, like, you know, a lot of MCs, they don't have anybody, like, they'll practice, but not, like, it's one thing to practice when you're, like, walking down the street and just rhyming to yourself, but it's another thing to have a microphone and a DJ at that age, at, like, 16 years old. Like, that was very uncommon to know somebody that had turntables and you could just go over their house and it was like blast the music. Ernie's parents, like, they worked at a restaurant, so they were gone from, like, morning time and they wouldn't come home until 11 p.m. So we were, like, there, like, jamming, like, non-stop, and it was like, back then you didn't really know a lot of people that had turntables and stuff, so, like, to have him and, like, to, like, work on the craft and just, you know, like, perfect it, like, it was really awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome. And yeah, I think I can also appreciate the fact of jamming in someone's basement while their parents were out until they got home and then we all had to leave. But moving along, I got to ask you, what changes would you say you've noticed from the day you entered our scene to where we are today?
I don't really go out too much to raves now, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. Everybody's having a good time and partying and enjoying themselves. I mean, I don't see it any different than what it was before. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm probably the wrong person to ask because
I was going to say, you don't see anything at all. That's the problem here.
I don't really go out as much as I used to.
We need you out, Dennis. We need you out.
When I do, it's more... When I do, it's just I'm more appreciative to be there because, like, back in the day, I mean, man, we used to go out, like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, we used to go out, like, every night. Like, it was crazy how much drum and bass was so, you know, back in the day, you know, Tuesday you'd go to, like, Turbo, like, Sunday you'd go to Milano, like, you know, it was just like Saturday you'd have the big rave, and then Sunday the people that they brought from the UK were still here, so they'd play at Milano. Like, it was just such a...
Hold on, let me carry you one day even further. The people that were after Milano, Comfort Zone Mondays. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Big ups to the Comfort Zone Mondays.
It was a great time back then, you know?
It was a different time.
I guess the only difference is that now that you mention it and now that I say it, I think the only difference, well, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other differences, but I'm just, you know, saying one, there's a lot more parties back in the day, I can tell you that much, but...
Well, it was sustainable.
Shout outs to all, like, the new junglerists and, like, everybody that's still keeping drum and bass, like, alive here in Toronto. Like, I mean, you know, like, I see some of the parties that, you know, the promoters are doing, and it's just amazing. Like, I love that, like, you know, like, the younger generation is into it, you know, and more and more and more, because that would just make, you know, drum and bass bigger, right? That's what we all want at the end of the day, right?
Exactly that. All right, let me ask you this. If you could create a Mount Rushmore for the jungle industry, who would your four faces of jungle be?
You know what, Aaron? I mean, honestly, that's just such a fucked up question. I'm sorry, bro. But, like, I mean, what am I going to say? Like, I don't know. I grew up when I started, like, there's just too many people. You can't put four people on a pedestal when there's so many other people that deserve to be on that pedestal.
You have
what
to.
am I going to say?
What do you, you have to?
Penny Ken, Hype, like, these are all guys I grew up listening to.
You got two.
Like, Hyper B, like,
three.
I mean, Reality.
There's four.
Fearless,
There's four.
Like, Navigator, like, it's just so
You can't put
people.
five. Hold on.
And then at the same time, too, you know, you can't forget about, I can't forget about the Toronto people. Like, I mean, you know, where would I be without, like, Mystical Influence and all these people that, you know, gave me a chance to rock on the mic? I mean, you know, I need to put them up there, too. But, like, four people, are you joking with me? Like, you need to erase that question off of your agenda because it's never going to work. Thanks.
I love it. Okay. If you could put 5 items in a vault, by the way, it's not coming off the question list, but if you could put 5 items into a vault that would encapsulate our rave culture, what would those 5 items be?
If I could take 5 things and put them in a vault to represent drum and bass, is that what you just asked me?
The rave, but yeah, if you want to make it just specifically drum and bass, I'll be okay with that.
No, bro, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I gotta pass on these questions because I hope you understand. Like, I mean, the rave is much more than just 5 things to me. You know what I mean? It's like, man, it's such a big part of my life, bro. Like,
okay, here's the thing, though, buddy. We're gonna age out. People are gonna phase out. In 20,000 years, we need somebody to dig up a vault that is only so big, and we can only fit 5 things in it, and we want them to remember what the rave was. What would those 5 things be? And if you don't give me a valid answer, you're going in the vault.
they're gonna be it's gonna be all the recordings of all the recordings that you did on this podcast of everybody that you fucking interviewed. What about that?
I love it. Thank you. I'll put that in the vault. That's item 1. A whole catalog of the Running Errands podcast.
Oh my God, Aaron, what are you talking about? That was like how many people have you interviewed? That was supposed to be 5 plus more. You only counted it as the 1, eh? You think you're pretty fucking smart there, eh?
That's one item. It's the catalog. The catalog of Running Errands. It's in there. You can't say, it's like saying The Simpsons, and all 76 episodes, like 76. No, man. And sorry, there's over like 400 episodes, I should say. But, yeah, no. What's item number 2, Mr. MC Lal? By the way, people have put the clubs that they love. They put cities that they think represent. They've put flyers, horns, whistles.
Well, yeah, I mean, obvious being the UK. I mean, if you want to just take like the vault and put the UK in there, well, I mean, London. I mean, and everybody that comes with it that started it. I mean, you know, we owe everything to them, obviously.
All right, that's 2 items. The UK and my catalog. Go ahead. What's item number 3?
Well, they definitely need to hear what Toronto has represented over the years.
Toronto's... So production coming out of Toronto, not just the production, but you know what, Mompy Swift, when we talked, he said, I would put the Toronto vibe from 2004 when I came over and you had 4,000 people filling the government. And I was like, all right, how about the vibe? How about we'll just put the vibe in?
Yeah, wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing for 2004? Oh my gosh.
And we're some days. Okay, so we've got the vibe, we've got my catalog, and we've got, what was the other thing?
I don't know, Aaron. This is such a question that I don't want to answer right now, but you're just kind of like making me answer it, which is so not cool. It
is very cool. You know what? I'll get just one more thing. When you think rave, what do you think of?
When I think rave, that's such a
Here's the thing. I want to say. Hold on, I'm going to sidebar with some info that we didn't even talk about during this interview. Mr. Lal and I have worked together in the past throwing parties, and one of the things we would talk about is what makes a good party. You know, what do we want in our atmosphere? And we made sure that we had a conscious effort that we wanted to throw not just a party, but a good party. We wanted people to have a good time. We wanted a lot of theatrics and extracurriculars to occur. And yet, here he is being asked what he would put in the vault, and he can't come up with a single thing. Mr.
I don't know, bro. Like what? Like the artists, you know, the people, you know, the like all the people that come out to the parties, you know, like.
Was there one specific raver
MCs,
that stood out to you? Like, is there someone you remember throughout the years? Somebody brought up Smurfy. Do you remember Smurfy Too Fly?
Say that again. What?
Smurfy. Do you remember Smurfy?
No, I don't know what the fuck you're talking.
No. Do you remember Scooby?
No, I mean, if I see these people's faces, then maybe I will know. But like, I mean, honestly, no.
They were ravers.
Like,
Hold on. Do you remember Africa?
Did you just say, do I remember Africa?
Yeah, the guy, not the place.
Like Africa? Like when you say Africa, are you talking like Africa as in the continent?
No, I'm talking
like
about
a guy named himself Africa? No, I don't know who you're talking about. Like,
oh my God. Okay. To my listeners, who I'm
what?
sure.
Listen, I don't know. Like maybe I've met these people over the years, but it's like, dude.
They're not all good people, Mr. Lal. They're not all good people. I'm not saying you should know these people.
No,
these are somewhat notorious.
Man, like, over the years, do you know how many people I've met in my life? Like, I mean, do you know how many people I've met through like the rave scene? Like, and a lot of it too is like a blur to me too, to be honest with you. Like,
well, somebody ever asked you, do you know who Little Shit is? Would you say,
yeah.
I don't know, I've met a lot of people in the industry? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's different. That's different. You fucking named yourself before you were Vivid. You named yourself LS, and everybody knew that standing for Little Shit.
Hold on. You know what? Before we sign off, I just want to say to people that R.I.P. DJ T.A.F, because my name was Little Shit when I first started as this, and I was first booked by DJ T.A.F to MC a party he was doing, and he would not put Little Shit on his flyer, and he said, "I will put LS." And that's where MC LS was born. So, R.I.P. to Cypher.
That's a dope story. I didn't know about that.
That's the truth behind that name. But here, I want to talk to you for a little bit, so stay on the phone. We're going to sign off to the listeners, okay?
Yeah, man.
All right. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed talking. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace out.